What's up, guys? So for this video, let's talk about the astrology of April. I think I'm going to do this every month, so let's jump right in. All right, guys, welcome. So what is happening in April? So first of all, we have gotten past a lot of the craziness of March. That doesn't mean that it's over with April. So basically, we have Mars starting after its retrograde ending, starting to gain motion again, and it's going to be moving into Leo very, very soon. After the station period, post-retrograde, basically, where we are on Earth compared to where Mars, in this case, retrograde, it appears, as we're still, close to it, right? So it appears to be moving very slowly in the sky, but it's kind of like zzz, it picks up speed, right? And then it gets back to its, like its normal movement. So with that happening, with Mars still being out of bounds, it's going to be, excuse me. I think like a lot, especially right now, at the time you're making this, I guess it won't matter when this comes out with Pisces, Venus and Saturn and Mercury and North Node, all these together. It's this kind of this zone at the end of the zodiac, this review zone that was very, that's still very much there. Eclipses, they have a longer, more of an effect than, say, a normal full moon, right? So it's like a lot of these themes I've talked about before about, moving into this new time, but also like having to review the old is really coming up. But yeah, so I think Mars and Leo, even like Mars right now, like Mars energy out of bounds, there can be like a lot more conflicts. It's been like this for a while. But when it's retrograde, that energy can be more held in. And I've heard this from a lot of people, of like more tempers coming out, and even though it is in Cancer, when it gets to Leo, which it's at the very end of Cancer right now, things can just happen, more explosive, also more fun, but beyond that, and let me just pull this open. So yeah, it's at 25 Cancer Mars right now. And I was looking for the ephemeris. But yeah, so besides that, you look around, you see like I said, there's that there's retrograde still going strong. And Neptune has moved into Aries, so I can talk all about that, or just to have a whole video on that. But that's a huge deal. Later in the year, it will move back. It has a very slow ingress into a sign, so it kind of flirts in a little bit. Maybe gets like 2-3 degrees and comes back, and then stays there for a little bit, retrogrades back in Pisces, and then leaves the last time. Is it next March? But yeah, so we have still a lot of water in the sky at this moment. When Mercury and Venus go direct, it will be a relief. Now, where did my thing go? Yeah, so today's the 5th. The 7th is like the apex. I guess this is, maybe you're hearing this on the 7th, of when Venus retrograde conjuncts Saturn. And I've told everyone, like, don't break up with people. Don't break up with your significant other right now. Like, it's not worth it, When Venus and Saturn are in any kind of astrological relationship, and this is a very short-term one. It's gonna, come back up for a day or two, but especially retrograde, Venus and Saturn is a very sneaky one, because you don't really look at the transits of Venus to other planets. It's more Saturn to Venus usually. But in this case, Venus moving backwards and colliding with Saturn, it can make love energy for these next few days maybe till like, Tuesday-ish. Feel a little bit harder to come by. And a lot of times, if you're not aware of this, you can like look at your partner if you're in a relationship and be like, why am I with this person? Or just see more of the negative side of them. So it's just important to know about. So April 7th, Monday, we got Mercury going direct finally. And April 12th is when Venus is going direct. So good. So things will start to get more normal. I've seen a lot of technological breakdowns, a lot of miscommunications, a lot of. I was even watching just to show you how pervasive I had with one of my students yesterday. We were talking about this. I was watching this DJ doing his vlog, like this vlog on YouTube. He was traveling to South America, and his he's from the UK. He had communicated all this stuff with the people from the festival Lollapalooza, which is like in 3 different cities in South America. And still, they messed up his stage. They messed up his lights, like all the things that usually he plans in precise detail, and they have to be a certain way for the show he puts on. They were all messed up, and I was like, that's the most Mercury and Venus, because Venus rules music and anything related to music, retrograde stuff ever. Of course that's happening. So you see astrology everywhere, right? You just have to open your eyes. Now, so those 2 ending will be nice. So I would and that's right before full moon on the 12th on a beautiful star. Wow. On Spica, very close to one of the best stars in the sky, which is Spica in Libra. So yeah, the same day that, or actually in the same hour, excuse me, my throat. And so that full moon is very interesting because you have Venus going direct an hour after a full moon. That's extremely significant. It symbolizes in this astrologically kind of Venus being the principle of self-love and of love in general. And that coming direct, it can kind of get us more present with things happening in our love lives, or themes around self-love and Venus rules money and many other things. So I feel like when that energy is direct, there's more of a straightforward energy in relationships and because full moons have to do with culminations, it's almost like that's a culmination, right? That's a culmination of something, of some pattern of thought, something that we've all had to go through where, people I've spoken to at least have really, it kind of my feel of everything has been like this really deep analysis of like, what do I want in my life? What people do I want? Mainly romantic, and a lot of it has been kind of in terms of like spiritual boundaries. A lot of people watching this will be going through that, right? Where it's like you have gone so far and you understand intuitively, consciously or unconsciously, like where the world is going in a way. Like you don't know where, but it's going somewhere. And you're trying to build something big. And you're looking at your life right now, your home, who's close to you, friends, all that, and you are thinking like, are these the right people, right? Or are these the right people? Is this the right circumstances? And it's kind of like this, like, we're still in that before the storm period, right? It's not bad storm, before the big shift. So Spica is a beautiful star. Meaning that it's very powerful when you have it in your natal chart. Where is this? Here it is. It's around 24 Libra, but the full moon's at 23. And yeah, so that full moon, it still has that. So it's kind of like the last gasp of air for this energy, right? Now, at this point, Mars is moving very close to that opposition with Pluto. So you could see increased tension. You could see, it's at the end of Cancer. So kind of those last gasps of emotional currents. And as it shifts to the start of Leo, that's kind of a danger zone. When you have Mars entering a fire sign opposite Pluto, that's like very volcanic, right? And that'll only be like a week or so later that's fully conjunct or fully opposite. But yeah, Mars starts to regain its normal motion. I'll probably do a full video on this, but what I see here is that more of a continuation of this theme from the eclipses. With a lot of those, those planets have just gone direct though, like the retrograde. So it's just like another sequence in the stage of, or stage in the sequence of, first you had that, the first eclipse with Virgo, and then you had the Aries eclipse, but still a lot of retrograde planets in Pisces. Now this full moon, you have the first full moon with Neptune in Aries, and right behind it is Mercury, who has gone direct, and it's 2 days, 2 degrees from being in Aries, and or less than 2 days, and then Venus, which is at 24, and it's right there, and it's with Saturn during this full moon. So it's gone direct. So it's like it had that conjunction, like I told you guys, it had that conjunction with Saturn. So this is a theme that we're gonna see. Now I'm recording this on the 5th, that full moon's the 13th. Like, this is an energy for the next week that's very, very potent, guys. And because it's in the full moon, it's going to be over the next month. So I expect to see a lot of breakups. I'll always do. Like, full disclosure, I once, as an astrologer, I was telling my client, my student this yesterday. I had a breakup that wasn't permanent, but it happened when Saturn was on my Venus. And when I realized it after, it just made so much sense. So I feel like because of that experience, I have a really deep understanding of what it even feels like on an intercellular level, right? And all I can say is that someone that you might normally find a certain way, right? The Saturn energy can be very dry when it's added to that Venus flowy, beautiful energy. And when that happens, it can be difficult. You know what I mean? It can be difficult for relationships, and like a lot of people can start to feel like their relationships are prisons. Like, why am I with this person? Like, what am I doing with this person? Like I see more the negative than the positive, right? That's Saturn. It's restrictions. It's Saturn and Venus together. That aspect is really related to restrictions around love, right? Around vulnerability. And sometimes it's very karmic too, especially the retrograde part. So the part coming now in the start of this week, I've talked to some people already who are going through breakups or like really kind of over this relationship they've been in for so long. I'm like, yo, don't make the decision right now. Grass is not always greener, But nearly every single person I've talked to has brought this up. And by the person I talked to, I mean, whether it's someone, on my Instagram, even commenting or sending a message, clients I have, people I know in everyday life, people I talk to on my phone. It's just continuously coming up. The second someone actually opens up right now, and that's the thing of being an astrologer is so beautiful, is that I get to see into the kind of depths of people's life and have a better idea of what's really happening beneath the surface. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people might think like, oh, and then I'm always very like, I don't tell anyone, people can tell me things. I don't ever like repeat it to someone. It's very confidential, but what I can do is I can group that into a cluster of similar experiences and be like, okay, that's a theme. This is a pattern right now. So with that said about Venus and Saturn, it can also be linked to loyalty and the glue that keeps relationships together. So think of it like there could be a lot of tests around your love, around your relationship. that could be the big thing for this next week and this full moon, as we kind of, the energy pipes up towards it. And now, because it's like, think of Saturn is here, and this is Venus, this hand. I know, I wish I had better visualization. So Venus moves and hits Saturn, or no, yeah, like retrograde, right? So Venus is moving retrograde. It's like right now, like around right on Saturn, and then it goes below it. Then it goes direct, right? And then it hits it again. So, and that's what's actually really interesting. Come to think of it. Wait, I didn't even realize this. So actually, because what happens at the end of a retrograde is that the planet loses speed, right? Like I was saying before with Mars. Like, because as the retrograde is ending, at the very end of it, and right as it goes direct, it's barely changing degrees. So it stations at a certain point in the sky. And that point where it's stationing is Saturn. So it's actually not moving, and I realize it's not moving away from Saturn. Now also we have the North Node conjunct this point. What are the odds? Well, what this could mean for some people is that it's decisions you have to make around boundaries and around the relationships that you want in your life for you to pursue your greatest spiritual, your greatest sense of self, your greatest sense of growth. Let me close this, sorry. It adds more of that karmic pull to it, right? It's going to be different for everyone. I'm not going to give like it really is something that I'm not going to just say this is what it means. But a lot of us, people who are in relationships right now, right? Like, there's different karmic themes that are showing up. And that's the overwhelming theme is like, are you with this person for traditional reasons? Not that that's bad. Some people, like to each their own. But the more and more people I've spoken to, there seems to be this real issue with communication. Or like this kind of divide between what both people want, I guess, who both people have become. So yeah, it's a little bit hard. But closeness can be tougher during a time like this. And it can bring up past life betrayals or past life hurt around love. And yeah. Like sometimes even people, like this transit could actually bring people back who've hurt you in a past life to teach you valuable lessons, right? And oftentimes I see that with people who have this natally, that's the case. They report, like you can see very karmic synastry charts, compatibility charts, etc. Now like this brings a level of shyness, like I said, an inability to be vulnerable, and it's because, like there can be, it just makes one further, it prevents one from accessing this waking up with this true feeling of like love, like it's harder. Saturn is hard work, so you have to work hard to communicate well. You have to work hard. You have to understand, if you have the awareness that this is happening, this is just a temporary thing, then you know that, okay, I probably shouldn't like have this opinion, whether you're like, interested in someone, start dating them recently, or whether it's something that's been going for a long time, or whether you have nothing or with no one, even of yourself. Even another thing I've seen is people having attitudes towards relationships, right? And that are very negative, like I'm going to be single forever, no one could possibly like me. I've heard that a lot lately, and that's the Saturn-Venus, right? That rejection, that isolation that comes from that, right? That feeling of like worthlessness, like there's no one that could possibly like me, because Pisces can really trick us, right? It can be a very deceptive energy, and Venus and Pisces is the ultimate romance, but then you have this, and it's just like the opposite. So, yeah, you just kind of have to I mean, my advice, if you ask me for my advice, I always believe in energetic breaks and energetic resets to relationships when they get, obviously everyone has a different chart. So for some people like myself with Aquarius, Sag, Pisces, I Gemini to that list. But it doesn't really matter about signs so much. I mean, yeah, you have some people that have charts that I think a lot of people enjoy having, in this age of Aquarius, enjoy having their own space, And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that like kings and queens, I was just talking to my client about this, like in the olden days, kings and queens had their own rooms, they had their own areas. And there's like, being intimate, and then there's sleep. Sleep is very sacred, and I truly, and that's kind of like an age of Aquarius. I'm going to dive into this in this next video. This is like my warm up, but like, not warm up, but I want to do one like this for each month. I think that's going to be something that kind of is like more appreciated, personal space, and kind of like allowing that Aquarian principle to come back to life. So, okay. So I'm looking at ephemeris though, just to make sure. So next month, May, is when Saturn is moving out of, May 26th is when Saturn moves out of Pisces. So, this month is like really like a lot of karma for, especially if you have planets between like, it's really like, I mean, I have a 21-degree moon in Sag, so mutable planets, important ones like, mutable is Gemini, Sag, Pisces, Virgo. Between, say, I don't know, I'll call it like, I guess the moon's kind of exempt from this, but yeah, like this month, Saturn moves from 24 to just about 28 Pisces. My sun, yeah, my Mercury, amazing. So, yeah. So yeah, things really pick up speed, and then it's July 8th is when Uranus moves into Gemini. Jupiter into Cancer in June 10th. That's a huge one. Esme, stop crying. It's not that serious. Esme. Yeah, because it's like 1 degree, 1 degree, 1 degree. Yeah, that's why I talked about it. Like, because like around August 9th, you have this some crazy alignment, right? You have Aries, Saturn, Aries, 1 degree. Neptune conjuncted at 1 degree, Aries. Uranus at 1 degree, Gemini, so sextiling it. And then Pluto's at 2 degrees. So the month before, that same energy is there around the start of July, mid-July. Very powerful energy, right? I guess just maybe I made this video like in 2018 or something. So, but like maybe like, yeah, August is when we're fully into this energy, But then towards the end of the year, yeah. So I'll make a new video where I really go into this. But really zooming in on April, if you just look at that and like when I just told you like the most massive things happening in so long, like one of them just started. Neptune moving to Aries, right? I'm gonna have a whole video where I detail the history of that and what I think it means, etc. It's a very hard video to make because there's so many things you can say, and then you can only have so many things in your brain at once, and you think of things. I don't know. You have to really be. I have to really be in a flow to make a video like that, or else it's like gonna fall short of what I want. There's like more minor transits. I mean, like for example, like I can go through the dates, right? Like what's already the 5th? Like tomorrow, for example, the 6th doesn't matter. Venus trine Mars, yeah, whatever. The 7th, Venus conjunct Saturn, retrograde, and Mercury direct the 7th. Full moon the 12th, as you said. Wait, why does it say the 12th here, but the 13th? I guess, okay, it's midnight. This is using UK time, I think, right? Yeah. Okay, so it's the 12th, but it's like technically, like 0021, like midnight in the UK. So Okay, there's nothing crazy. April 17th, Mercury conjunct Neptune in Aries. That's an interesting one. So the 0 Aries degree or point in astrology refers to the first point, the first degree of the zodiac. So it's reflects new beginnings. So this can be a day where we can receive a lot of downloads around this Neptune Aries energy, what this is going to mean for us spiritually, and just being very connected to the zeitgeist of the future. Of course, psychologically, Neptune Mercury day would be a day of increased sensitivity. It's actually, there's a really good concert or festival, I guess, here around those days. Well, I guess it's the next day. Mars trine Neptune on the 19th. That's nice for music, for what I'm going to be doing if I go. And let's see. Okay, 28th, you have Sun square Mars, and then Sun square Pluto the 23rd. So yeah, I mean, just minor ones, but still, you always have to watch out for the tension those can bring. Sun square Mars can be a little bit more of an aggressive day, but also you can lean into that hustler energy. April 23rd, Sun square Pluto, kind of similar. It can be a little bit more of a dark day. You know, it only happens twice per year, right? That the Sun squares Pluto. So this time it'd be once from Taurus and once from Scorpio. So yeah, I mean, just knowing that and kind of cooling off a bit, you know, because Pluto can bring that real intensity and jealousy power plays. And, you know, these are like little transits that like you can ignore. I usually do, but like if you know about them, it can make that day a lot easier, right? And I'm not even getting into the moon ones because that's just different for everyone. And they just go so fast. So Venus conjunct Saturn. Damn, that's crazy. You're telling me that Venus is spending that much time. Yeah, I mean that's how slow it is, you know. Like following a retrograde. Like let's get the ephemeris up. So April, Venus is right here. So I'm gonna show you guys something. So in a normal time, like this is like in March, right? Or in February. You look at Venus, look at how much it moves in one day. March 11th, that's at 4:30 Aries, right? This is February, I mean. The next day it's at 5.6. And the next day it's at 5.40. Next day it's at 6:13. Next day it's at 6:44, 7:14, 7:42, 8.08, 8:33. So you see it moves quickly. And then right now, as we're, you know, we're feeling the end of this retrograde. Today is the 5th. It starts to move almost like an outer planet, right? So it's at 25:56. And tomorrow it's at 25:38, which is more normal. Still, you know, so it's really right now, Venus is starting this process of stationing, right? Of slowing down. You know, we look at it in the sky and usually it's moved forward based on where it was the day before, not now. So when you have Saturn, which barely moves, just chilling, and Venus is in this exhausted state from our standpoint on Earth, which is all, you know, that matters in how we're looking at astrology, they are conjunct. The light that they emit from where we are on Earth is conjunct. So, yeah, so it's really like that full moon. And then you look at Saturn. So Saturn is moving by about 0.07 each day, right? And what's crazy is that Venus throughout April is still moving by more, but it's only moving by like 0.21, looks like, right? 0.21 to 0.25. So yeah, so on April 24th, we have another conjunction. It's like insane. We have a Venus that's so slow and that it only really regains power. So that's like a huge theme of April, is that we have this station Venus, and then we also have this station Mercury, right? Mercury, it doesn't station for as long, right? It's a faster moving planet. By the time it's in Aries, really, by like the 19th, 20th, like Mercury's moving, good, but it's still in its shadow period. But yeah, that slow grind from Venus until it finally gets back into Aries, the first day of May. It's like perfect, right? So that's like my theme for April is, watch out for, and where's the Mars? Let me just track that. Watch out for breakups, so Mars enters Leo on the 19th. So that's perfect. Yeah, I'm definitely going to this festival. I haven't done anything for myself this year, like literally. But yeah, that's gonna be really fun. Having Mars in the sign of Leo is all about fun. So yeah. So that to me, even with that Mars and Leo, like you still have to watch out for that opposition with Pluto, which would be the dates of like the most important dates for that would be from like the peak would be the 26th or 25th, 26th. But it's really like honestly from about the time it enters, maybe like the 21st-ish to 28th, 29th. Like that week around 20th to 28th maybe. 20th to 29th to be safe if you want to use the wider orbs. Like that's really, you got to watch out for that intensity because it's not just Mars entering Leo, it's Mars entering Leo, which is opposite Aquarius, which is where Pluto is at the start of, so it takes that volcanic, intense power, right? So we have some interesting stuff going on this month that usually doesn't last very long, but you really have to, okay, women watching this, and I have someone very close to me who nothing happened, thank God, but there was a situation that was like scary that like could have gone really, really south. And I'm just gonna say it, like Mars and Pluto is related to sexual abuse and bad things happening in that way. So just really, take care of yourselves. I guess this goes for anyone, but mainly seeing this with women. So, but like, yeah. And I think that during that period, work out, move your body, sweat, because what can happen is that you can have a lot of frustration and way more of that masculine energy. And then it can lead to like more like masochistic tendencies or just so much energy boiling out that it goes somewhere where it's not supposed to go. You know what I mean? So yeah, so that's a tough one, especially the day that'll be exact. Very sexual energy too, like I said, but so that could be a good thing, but like also like watch out. So yeah, it's all about transforming that energy. All right, let's see, just one last peek, and we end the month with a beautiful new moon at 7 degrees Taurus. That is on the 27th. So let me just pull that chart open for that. So that new moon, excuse me, is an Venus ruled new moon, beautiful Taurus, but not so fast. There is a T-square of that new moon. That new moon, Sun conjunct moon, right? 7 degrees Taurus, is squared Mars and Pluto, forming a T-square. So that becomes the least peaceful new moon. That's going to feel more like a full moon. When you have an aspect like Mars opposite Pluto in a new moon, it could actually set the precedent for, I don't know, I don't even want to say it. It's not like this has never happened and things were not fine, but it's not comfortable. It's not like when you think of Taurus energy on its own, you think of comfort, you think of beauty, of just flow and home and harmony and relaxation, right? But when you add everything I've just talked about of Pluto square Mars, it's rough, that intensity. But it can also be really, really good for any kind of goal-directed activity. So it's just really about, honestly, sexuality is huge during that time. You have like all these planets reclaiming their energy, you know what I mean? And then you're in the sign of Venus, which, it's going to be at 28 Pisces still, with Saturn still. So I'm curious to see how that Venus conjunct Saturn energy, which is happening, which is still there. They're only like 1 degree apart, not even, how that is going to be playing out when that's more of a dry energy. So maybe this could represent some makeup sex or some, I don't know, or it could just be a massive fight, or it could be one person trying to control the other person. It could be psychological tendencies that are shown on an interpersonal level. Now, in the world, this could be, it's just tough because it's ruled by Venus in Pisces, but Venus in Pisces has Saturn on it. So there's just like this continued theme, that's pulled over in so many of these, in all the month of March and April. So it's clear that we're still in the process in April of getting ready for these big cyber jumps, different cyber, interdimensional jumps within ourselves. So, this is crazy to see this theme repeated. Yeah, when I stare at this chart, to me, it's like 7 degrees is the degrees of Libra of partnership already, right? Could be, dispute, like the 3 degrees, that could be like arguments around the foundations of a relationship, around the home, around who has what roles, what is the foundation that you're building? Things that have been pushed beneath the surface. It is a new moon, it's not a full moon, so it's more, things want to be more relaxed, but yeah, we're just like the fact that you have Venus conjunct Saturn this whole month, for me, it's like very make it or break it about relationships. A lot, if a relationship doesn't survive this month, and then you have the North Node there, it was not meant to. But also know that you have to fight for what you have to fight for what you believe in, or you have to. I'm not gonna sit here and give advice like I'm the guy who's good at this, but you have to. You have to have effort. There's always that balance with Aries and Libra. Like in this, the full moon of April, between what am I taking and what am I giving up, right? Like what's my independence, Aries, versus my, not codependence is an extreme, but my compromise, Libra. So, that theme is always there. And, you could see an extreme, I always say this, an extreme is someone who's full Aries who can't compromise at all. Right? They can't compromise at all, and they're just very selfish, and because of that, they don't really find any good relationship, or they think that it's like the narcissist, you should serve me, you should exist to be an extension of me, kind of, right? And then you have Libra, which is the opposite, which is so that's like narcissistic personality disorder at an extreme, And then you have Libra, which would be like dependent personality disorder, right? Which would be, or is it dependent or dependency? Dependent personality disorder, DPD, right? Yeah, which is like someone who has such a lack of self within their own psyche. Like they have such so much deep pain, but really it shows up as people pleasing. It shows up as wearing a mask of being who they're supposed to be. And it's very sad because it could be very nice people, you know, very good people, but it's like they were never able to really truly be who they were supposed to. So they find, you know, in psychology school, university, I was talked about once, like a lot of times you'll see couples who want, like one is a narcissistic personality disorder, the other is dependent personality disorder, because it's like, and for me, I correlate that to astrology, is like the extreme of Aries and Libra, you know? You have someone who's super sure of themselves, you know, like whatever they do, like it's the most important thing. That's not really how I want to say it. Whatever, you know, they care more about them. They're not thinking about other people. That's what it comes down to. They like don't really love other people in the same way that normal people do. It's different than being, you know, in control of your life and wanting great things for yourself. Like that's not what I'm saying. I think it's more of like, if like it's all good if you're in a phase of your life, right, where you care more about other things in a relationship, that's totally fine. Like go chase whatever you want, you know? I think the important thing is to be honest. Like I wouldn't want to like enter into a relationship with someone unless I told them like, look, like this is what I'm like, you know what I mean? Like this is like how I am right now. You know, if you don't hear from me, like, you know what I mean? Like everyone has different periods of life, and at different periods you're able to give something and not give something, right? And when you try to overexert that, it just hurts you and what you're supposed to be going through, because you might be going through a period energetically that is more about inner growth. And that's sometimes what the extreme of Libra does, right? Is that it pushes that inner growth away. Thank God. I was just like, haven't checked my recording in so long. I'm like, please say it's still recording. Yeah. So that thing comes up, and then, you know, with Pisces, that can be delusionality. Like I've told on this channel before, like my best friend since childhood, a near perfect chart minus that Venus and Pisces. Would you say, no, Jesse, that's the best Venus sign? Well, I've seen it be the worst, because I've seen it more than once, great people who have been tricked and duped, and you could say it's another part of the chart. I get it. The chart is complicated. Like he also had Neptune in the seventh house. There's more than just like the Venus and Pisces on its own, right? There's other dynamics that go into it, but like he completely had his soul snatched by his wife, essentially, right? She stole him. He's not in contact with his best friends, me, since childhood, his family. You know, a lot of stuff happened. I'm not going to go into, not with me, but with the family, and it's very sad, very, very sad. You know, it's like something you would have never expected, and this is coming from someone who, Sun in Aries, Moon Aquarius, Venus Pisces, right? And when I messaged him a few years ago to try to see like maybe he's changed, or I don't know, it was like it sounded like he had become a Jehovah's Witness or something. Like nothing against, do your thing, but like it was very much like I was talking to like someone who was a shell of their soul. I've seen the soul, and it was just cognitive dissonance is a crazy thing, when you think about people who have experienced God and seen, he's seen astrology. I've shown him his chart through the astrological lens, and then it's like, okay, well, there's also the dark side of that, where people can use astrology and spirituality to create this idea, this fake Pisces delusion that they're meant to be. And yeah, I'm sure there's a karmic theme here. There's something that he's meant to learn, obviously, right? Or he wouldn't be happening. But, you also have to really understand that black magic exists. I saw this video by someone, I can't remember, on Instagram about something I'm going to try, which was like an egg a dark, evil eye egg cleanse. And it's like you take the egg and you basically probably what I would do is probably this, pray, meditate with the 3 eggs. I'm not sure if you're supposed to use them all at once. But whatever. He said do it 3 times, so I need to rewatch the video before I do it. I've never done something like this. And you pray with the eggs, the kind of holy, whatever. You set the intention in the eggs spiritually. Please, like to let these eggs remove all my negative energy. And you kind of put that power and intention into the eggs, right? Then you take one and you just move it around your body, and while you're doing it, your eyes are probably better, probably like be in that meditative state of imagining that evil eye, like dark energy, like, probably doing some prayers. I mean, there's probably way more, people can comment if you know more about this. I'm sure that there's like some amazing ways of removing like dark energy from you, energetically purifying, but yeah. And then what he showed was like you put, I think he's after that, he's like, you do all of your body and then you crack the egg, you put it inside a cup. You do not look inside the cup from the top. And I think he put hot sauce, garlic, and salt. I'm pretty sure those are the 3. I need to rewatch. And then someone in the comments was like, you should put a coaster on top of the cup. Just make sure you don't look at it. And you can see like if there's like a lot of bubbles on the top, that means that you have like a lot of evil eye, like dark energy that you're removing, right? That was in you before. If it's kind of more chilling, then and your spirit guides are doing their thing, blah, blah, blah. But he said also in the video to do it 3 times. I'm not sure if that meant, because, oh yeah, the last part, most important, then you take it to the toilet and you flush it down, but you don't look at it, so you have it like, you can look at it from the side to see the results if there's a lot of bubbling. But then after that, you don't look at it, you flush it, you don't turn your back, you let it go down the toilet, and that is the release. If you look at it, I guess there can be some reaction that's bad. And then he says do it 3 times, which I think is like the first time is probably the most powerful, but then I guess you do it again. But my thing is like, how do you probably need a pretty small cup or a jar or something, because how are you going to see the bubbling or like really like, But I still don't know if you're supposed to like do 3 separate flushes or if you can like pile the eggs on top of each other 3 times. My guess is probably 3 separate flushes because it would be 3 different reactions. And you want to do the complete process 3 times. I'm pretty sure what that would mean. But anyways, so great thing to do. I was looking for something like that for a while. If you guys know any other things like that to get rid of dark energy or to just clean your, kind of like spiritual maintenance, if we want to call it that, let me know. But yeah, guys, a lot is changing. This month is still not easy. It's not easy, and it's in a more passive, less intense way, but nevertheless, it's still very much there. And we just got to deal with it. We just got to deal with it. If you're in a relationship, let me know in the comments or just in general how you've been dealing with the Venus and Saturn energy. And like I said, knowing about it is the first step. Maybe you need to have more space, more time alone, and realize like, damn, like I'm feeling this on my own. This is about me. But maybe also sometimes it is about the other person. Like, let's be real. So if that's the case, take your time. Don't break up until after Mercury retrograde. That's my advice. And Venus retrograde. Allow the retrogrades, the analysis that brings, before you make any big decisive action. Or you might have made the wrong decision and regret it and be too far gone after. Some doors you can only go through them or close them once and they can't reopen. Some can reopen. It's just always different. This is karma. Okay, guys, that's it. Let me know what you guys think. Did you guys like this format? Should I do this for every month? I think you guys like this stuff. So, April. All right. See you guys later.